In today's video, we will be interviewing 5 news reporters who have done their research on the tragedies that happened in the Darfur region of Sudan. If you want to learn more, then stay tuned. So when and where did this tragedy happen?
Okay, so Darfur is a region located in western Sudan, and this conflict actually began in 2003 when rebels launched an insurgency against the Sudanese government. Insurgency means a small rebellion against a larger government. So this actually resulted in humanitarian crisis, also in violence, and this tragedy killed many people and displaced millions of people.
From daily airstrikes, shelling and gunfire. A brutal power struggle is playing out in Africa's third largest country.
So what exactly happened?
Rebel groups launched an insurrection for what they believed was the Sudanese government's disregard for the western region and its non-Arab population. After rebels attacked government facilities, the President Omar al-Bashir, high-ranking Sudanese military, as well as politicians, equipped and supported Arab militias, the Janjaweed, to fight the rebel groups. The militias also terrorized the civilians in the region and prevented international aid organizations from delivering much-needed food and medical supplies.
Who was affected by the violence that took place?
Rebel groups who attacked government buildings and protests were affected, as well as innocent civilians living in Sudan's West Darfur region.
10 million people are fleeing the violence, more than in any other crisis worldwide.
Of this tragedy.
By 2007, the conflict had left hundreds of thousands of people dead and more than 2 million displaced. They were forced to flee from the fighting. Entire villages in Sudan's West Darfur region have been burned to the ground by the Arab militias. Widespread looting and destruction of infrastructure left many with little to no access to food, clean water, and medicine. Later in 2008, the International Crime Court prosecutor alleged Omar al-Bashir, who was the president of Sudan, to take criminal responsibility for the violence and the tragedy in Darfur. The prosecutor sought a warrant for his arrest multiple times but failed. To this day, Omar al-Bashir, who is responsible for 5 counts of crimes against humanity, 2 counts of war crimes, and 3 counts of crimes of genocide, still walks a free man.
Entire villages have been burned. Hundreds of thousands have died. Beatings, rapes, and mutilations are used as weapons of terror.
Why did the crisis happen?
The crisis happened because rebel groups such as the Sudan Liberation Army and Justice and Equality Movement decided to attack government facilities because the rebels felt that they weren't getting basic needs such as hospitals and roads and even schools. So they responded by attacking government buildings, and the government responded by a ethnic cleansing of all non-Arab people in the region. It kept kind of going mainly because the government's love for the northern Sudan region's Arab people and the dislike of the southern Sudan region's non-Arab and African people. It's just been continuously going mainly because every time they overthrow one government official, a new, even worse one pops up, so.
My name is Hana Hamuda. I fled after having lost my 2 children and one of my legs. When the bomb hit our house, I didn't immediately lose my leg or feel that it was severed. My body just went completely numb.
She was taken to hospital and operated on immediately. When she woke up after her leg had been amputated, the doctors told her that she had also lost her 2 sons, Awatif and Abrar, who were only 2 and 4 years old.
My children were adorable. We used to play a lot together. But now God has taken them from me, and I leave it to God to judge the government. I don't blame God.
She says the bomb dropped on her house came from the Sudanese army. She and her 2 older children managed to flee here to the Nuba Mountains. And even with hardly anything to eat, in Sudan, a civil war has been raging.